What's up, Taryl?
Oh, hey there, Scruffy.
I got some blowers I want you to look at.
Okay. We really don't service those.
What do you mean? What's wrong with them?
Well, for one thing, that recoil being yanked out of it, you have to take that thing all apart, completely apart to fix that. You're looking at a couple hours labor, so you're looking at about $200 to fix that.
$200?
That's right.
What about this one? I think it just needs a spark plug.
Okay, when's the last time that's ran?
I don't know, 5, 6 years ago?
Well, it's going to need more than just a spark plug. It's probably going to need a carburetor overhaul or a new carburetor, new fuel lines. Again, it's going to cost more than it's worth.
Really?
Yeah.
But these are Craftsman. These are good brand.
Those are considered disposable. When they break, you just throw them away.
Oh, these were really good blowers.
I'm sure they were back in the day.
All right, well, I guess I don't need them. Do you want them?
I don't want them.
Oh, okay, well, I got something else out in the truck I want you to look at. I'll be back.
All right.
Check this baby out. You'll work on this, right?
I don't think so. Again, no.
What do you mean, no?
It's too old and it's too hard to get parts for if they're even available, and it's going to cost more than it's worth. How much was that thing when it was new? $79?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's going to cost more than $100 to fix it.
More than 100?
Yeah, with
What?
today's labor rates and the parts, if we can even get them because it's so old.
I've been taking it to all these shops and nobody wants to work on it.
Yeah, because these are disposable items. That's what they're called. They're disposable. They cost more to repair than what they're worth. You could just go buy another one.
Well, don't any of these shops want to make money?
Can't make any money off that stuff. They're just a bunch of trouble. All they are is trouble.
Well, when it was running, this thing was great.
I'm sure it was. But again, it's going to cost more to fix than it's worth. I'll fix it, but you're going to have to pay me up front. You're going to have to give me a $100 deposit on each one.
I don't know about that.
A non-refundable $100 deposit. And there's no guarantees.
All right, well, I think I'll pass on that. You want it?
I don't want it.
Well, guess what? I got one more thing, and I know for a fact you're going to work on this one.
Okay. Let's see what else you got.
I'll be back.
I'm sure you will. Knuckleheads in their lawn equipment. Pterodactyl here. Today's video is going to be on why shops won't work on a lot of this disposable or throwaway handheld equipment. And we're going to go over the different reasons of why they won't work on it. And the number one reason is their shop labor rates exceed the cost of fixing some of this cheaper stuff. Now, if you got like better equipment like Echo or Stilch or Husqvarna brand, and if they're a dealer for that, they'll work on it. But a lot of like independent shops like myself, we don't work on any of this cheaper, what they call throwaway stuff, because it's more headache than it's worth for the money you're gonna make. But a lot of it is the labor rate. And some shops will even have like a minimum. Some of them have a 1 hour minimum. So say you bring this in and all it needs is a spark plug, and they put a spark plug in it, they're gonna charge you an hour's labor. And you're gonna be like, that's crazy. I'd pay $80 or $100 to have a guy put a spark plug in it. Well, you know what? You as a consumer should have tried that first. And then if that didn't work, that would have saved you some money. So you need to ask questions and find out ahead of time before you just assume when you drop stuff off what it's going to cost. But a lot of shops will just flatly turn it down. They don't want to work on this stuff. I used to have one of these actually. I had one of these blowers. And let me tell you, I got it as a housewarming gift from my in-laws. So of course, you know, I'm not gonna throw it away. Plus I know how to fix the stuff. So I had one of these, and I don't know how many times I had to put a rope in it and replace the fan and keep it running and put fuel lines. And I mean, I had this thing for years and years, and I used to carry a screwdriver with me whenever I ran it because I always had to constantly adjust the carburetor until eventually I just got rid of it. But I mean, I had it a long time, don't get me wrong, but this stuff is cheaply made. Another problem I see with them, this cheaper stuff, is they stick to piston rings. I don't know how many times we get them in here and I pull it and I go, this thing's got no compression. And they say the same thing. Well, it was running when I put it away. But what they don't realize is, and I'm gonna teach you something here, a small air-cooled engine reaches its highest temperature when you shut it off. And that reason being, now you got no air from the flywheel fan going through the cylinder fins to cool it off. So when you're running that thing all day and it's getting hot, you've ran it for a few hours, and then you shut it off, now it's going to reach its highest temperature, and it usually sticks to piston ring. So are you going to pay to have that thing tore all the way down, to have them put a new piston and rings in it? And again, if you can even get the parts to repair it. A lot of times, there are no individual parts to repair it. You have to buy the whole short block assembly. And again, it's not cost effective to repair it, unless you're doing it yourself. Like this thing here, I remember if you broke the recoil on this, you couldn't buy any individual parts to fix the recoil. You had to buy the whole recoil assembly. And then again, you got to take it apart to fix it, quite a bit of it apart. And then that labor, you know, it adds up. And again, what do you pay for something like this? I think these were $59 or $69 or $79 for the whole thing, brand new. That's why it's called disposable. The higher end equipment, yeah, shops are going to work on, especially if they're a dealer for it. Now another problem is trying to find skilled help, skilled technicians that know how to fix it. Well, you just hire somebody and you train them. Yeah, that's real simple, real easy to say. Just hire somebody and train them. So now it's taking two people to fix a piece of equipment, because I got to sit there and train the guy while the guy's trying to learn how to fix it. And chances are it's not going to turn out good. It's going to waste a bunch of time. And again, there's going to be two of us fixing one piece of equipment. The whole idea behind running a business is to hire somebody skilled enough to fix it, to make you money, so you can pay him. Because you're in business to make money. You're not in business because your doctor told you to get up and go to work. You know what I'm saying? You're in business to make money. Just like the companies you work for. They're in business to make money so they can pay you. That's how things work. It's not a charity. So that's why a lot of shops won't work on this, and they want to be nice to you, and they don't want to insult you, well, even though some of them will. And they, you know, they just want to tell you politely that, no, I'm sorry, we don't work on that stuff. Now, I don't work on any of that handheld stuff anymore. I only work on it for certain customers because I'm so busy and I don't have anybody here skilled enough to work on it, so I just cut it out altogether. I'll work on some things for people, like if it's a, and again, it's got to be a still or an echo. I won't work on that Husqvarna stuff. I don't care for that stuff. It's, to me, it's not that well made. So I don't like that Husqvarna stuff. But I will work on some echo and some still products, only some. And again, it all depends on what's wrong with it and how much time I have and how much of a hurry they're in. Or if we could do a video on it. If we think it's something good enough to do a video on, we'll do a video on it. But I'm just too busy that this stuff would just pile up. I'd have piles of this stuff. There's so much of it. That's why a lot of it is going to battery powered. So that's another thing to look at. You know, you might want to buy a battery powered one, handheld wise. You don't have to buy a lawnmower or a zero turn, but as far as like a weed eater or a chainsaw, something that you occasionally use, you're not using it commercially, you're occasionally using it. That's the problem with this stuff. It doesn't get used a lot either. You're not using it all the time. So what happens when you don't use it a lot? The fuel lines rot, the fuel goes bad, the carburetors plug up. That's the main problem, is fuel, old fuel that they leave in them. That's why a lot of these companies are going towards battery now. Pretty soon, this is all going to be eliminated, all these cheap gas-powered weed eaters and leaf blowers and weed whackers. Your only choice is going to be to buy a battery-powered one. You're going to find that's coming pretty soon here. You're just going to eliminate that because these companies that make this crap, they're having a hard time finding service centers to fix it and repair it. So they're slowly phasing it out. Let me give you an example of some of this cheaper stuff. There's a cheap chainsaw that if you need to buy the OEM carburetor for it, costs about $150 for the OEM carburetor that goes on there. The tool itself, new, only costs $170. And I think it was a Stilch brand chainsaw, because they also have a low-end product that they sell. Because again, they're trying to compete with this stuff. So they see that people are out buying these cheap weed eaters and chainsaws, so they thought, you know what? We should make one that's maybe $20 or $30 more than that cheap Poolin Pro or Ryobi or any of that stuff, but it's got our name on it. Okay, so you need to get it fixed. It needs a carburetor, say, because you can't rebuild the one that's on there. Say you try rebuilding it. This is another problem. You try rebuilding some of these carburetors, and you think, okay, it's going to be fixed, and you get it running, and it still runs like crap because there's something internally wrong with the carburetor. Now you wasted all that time rebuilding it. So then you end up putting a new carburetor on it, and it runs fine. So what are you going to do? You're going to charge the guy for all that time? Again, it's going to cost more than it's worth. So in the case of that Stilch chainsaw, $150 just for the carburetor, and then the labor to do it, you could just go buy another saw for $170. I think it was one of those MS 170s. That's like their cheapest chainsaw. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a decent chainsaw. But again, it's considered a throwaway. So these are things you all got to be aware of. You know, that's why you need to take care of your equipment. Unless you got a lot of money and you don't care, you just want to throw that stuff away. But that's the thing. And then, of course, we are the person that you're dealing with directly, so you want to lash out at us. But again, we're just trying to earn a living. And it gets to the point where a lot of these shops, they're just turning this stuff away. They don't want to work on it anymore. And I'm one of them. Well, I hope that answered any of your questions of why a lot of shops won't work on these so-called lower end or cheaper brands of outdoor power equipment, handheld power equipment, leaf blowers, weed whackers, and chainsaws. And as always, there's your dinner. Woo! Cheaper lawnmower equipment, outdoor power equipment, not cost effective to repair.
All right, well, this one I know you're gonna work on. Hedge trimmer.
No, I don't think so, Scruffy. Again, it's too old, outdated, probably can't get the parts to fix it, and it's gonna be expensive.
Oh, man, are you serious, man? I've had this thing all over. Nobody wants to work on this stuff.
Because these are disposable items. That's what they're called. They're disposable. They cost more to repair than what they're worth. Look at that one's got water dripping out of it.
Yeah, it's been outside for a while.
Yeah.
But it's got sentimental value.
Oh yeah? What's so sentimental about it?
My grandma looked at one in a catalog that looked just like this one time. So I went out and bought one.
All right. Well, why don't you do this? Why don't you just build a nice shelf somewhere at your house or in your garage and hang it up, and then you can admire it from afar.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be cluttering up my shop with all this crap. But hang on, I got one more thing I want to bring in. And I know for a fact you're going to work on this one.
Okay.
Here we are.
Oh no.
Top of the line. Yard machine.
Yeah. Again, no. I think that one was like $59 when it was new.
What? Yeah, I think you're right. So you're not going to look at it, are you?
You want to spend $100 getting it fixed or more?
You know what? I don't have $100, so I guess I'm out. I guess I'll just have to go buy a new one.
Yeah, that would be the best thing. Just go buy a new one.
Man, but this thing was really good. Just needs this trigger.
I don't even know if that trigger's even available. We'd have to try to find it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I put straight gas in it too, but I don't think that matters.
Oh yeah, it does. It's a two-stroke, so it probably ruined the engine. So I'm sure it's probably no good.
All right. I'm sorry about that, Taryl. Sorry for wasting your time.
Okay.
All right, well, you have a good one.
All right. Hey! Hey! Aren't you gonna take this crap with ya?
Oh, look at all this goody stuff. Oh, I could start my own landscaping business. I can't believe somebody threw all this good stuff out here. Let's take it in, have my good buddy Taryl look at it. He'll get it all tuned up.